Regular meeting number 29 will now come to order. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem.
Good and gracious God, as we near the Memorial Day weekend, we thank you for all of our loved ones who have gone before us, and especially those who sacrificed their lives in the line of duty to protect and defend our country. May we never lose sight of the memory of their presence, and may they receive the reward of their goodness. During this week, we thank you for the dedicated responsiveness of emergency medical service workers who are being honored this week. We thank you for their ability to work under pressure in the critical arena of emergency response and apply life-saving treatment. We also thank you for the dedication of police officers and firefighters who continually put their life on the line. May they receive your protection in carrying out their assignments. We pray for members of City Council as they begin another meeting. May your wisdom and counsel enable them to bring matters to successful resolution so that the common good is promoted. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal?
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. This week's communications received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
Are there any resolutions or announcements from members of Council? Councilmember Craig.
Thank you, President Ginther. I have the wonderful privilege tonight of sharing a bit of information regarding two events. One, I'd like for Rick Isabel, if he would come to the podium. Thank you, Rick. On Saturday night, the City of Columbus has the unique and distinct honor of receiving the Above and Beyond Award, and was further acknowledged and received the Pro Patriot Award on that night. And the reason why that's important is these awards are not given out easily, without not a lot of thought. And the City of Columbus, for all that it is doing for our veterans, those that are serving our nation, making sure that all of us are safe and out of harm's way. And so just by virtue of the name, going beyond, our city was recognized and chosen among many participants to be the recipient of this year's awards. Rick, I'm going to ask you to talk further about them. I wanted to make sure that he brought them into Councilor Chambers and displayed them for all of us. But Rick, please highlight further the significance of those awards.
Thank you very much, Council Member. We were nominated because of one or more, actually, of our employees put us in for Patriot Awards, and that is going and doing more for our veterans, or our military members who called to duty. And because of our policies and going above and beyond is why we were first put in for this, and our policies are actually further than what the federal guidelines are. And so what we do for our military men and women who are called to duty far exceeds what is asked of us. And that is something that we're very proud of, and the fact that we are actually being seen as a standout in our state. And the good news is that we are in the running for the Freedom Award, which is a national award where we'll be called to Washington, D.C. at the Pentagon. And it's kind of like the Final Four. We've already gone past the Sweet 16, and we're in the Final Four right now for that. So fingers are crossed, and in 2 weeks we should find out if we're going to D.C. to receive some more hardware for our hard work that we do for our men and women.
Well, Rick, thank you so much. Let me acknowledge your work, your hard work day in and day out, and your due diligence in making sure that from your end, I know that you're the president now of MelVets. You do so much for our veteran population, in addition to your responsibilities in the ADA. I certainly wanted to also acknowledge the work of Major Steve Snyder Hill, who actually submitted us, as I understand it, for this award, and certainly wanted to acknowledge his work.
That is correct. His write-up is what sent us over, because of our manual for our supervisors and managers before, during, and after when someone's deployed was one of the things that really set us apart from the rest of the other cities and municipalities in the state.
Well, thank you for coming down. I certainly wanted to thank the mayor and certainly, Rick, for your work. We deeply are honored by the work that you're doing on behalf of our veterans. And it's so fitting tonight that we'll be honoring, in light of Memorial Day, those that have laid down their lives for our freedom. The truth is, freedom is not free. And we thank you and all of the service men and women that serve so valiantly for the city of Columbus. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Next, I have the distinct privilege of asking this group to come up. That's David Brown and all those with the Harmony Project. Why don't you all come to the podium, please? Mr. Brown, just have everybody come with you that can come up with you. Mr. Leonard, I see you back there. You come on up, too. Our Franklin County treasurer, who does an outstanding job for us.
We should have moved you back there.
Zach said they should have probably just moved me back there. Yeah, let's make sure that we get the little ones so that we can see them.
Yeah, Councilman Craig, President Ginther, members of council, we would like to, the Livingston Avenue Area Commission and the
Ms. Wolf, if you'll pull that down just a little bit down to you.
On behalf of the Livingston Avenue Area Commission and the Streetcar District, we would like to thank Mr. David Brown and the Harmony Project for all the wonderful things he's done in that week along Livingston Avenue, painting murals, painting fences, building a playground, and landscaping the new Streetcar District sculpture at Nelson and Livingston. 700 volunteers, amazing Thank you, David, very much.
Well, first of all, let's correct that, Miss Lucy, because I don't want to correct you ever in public, but I'm going to correct you right now. Because Council, I dropped off a report earlier today that I hope you all have, and I'm just going to break it down by the numbers because it's 8 pages long, all right? So by the numbers, 10 primary funders, 12 media outlets, all 4 local television stations, 14 primary partners, 21 local neighborhood churches, schools, and organizations, 33 organizations, corporations, and small businesses who donated materials, 730 registered volunteers, and 5,000 hours of community service. That all happened because this council said yes to the community. The community became the benefactor and the beneficiary. And behind us, we have Livingston Avenue, South Side, we have Neighborhood Design Center, Livingston Avenue Area Commission, Children's Hospital. I'll start to leave people out. That's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to start going through the list. But these are the folks who represented the community coming together. And all of that got done because they all got out and got people to say yes. So because you said yes to this idea, the community said yes back to you. So thank you very much. One Week, One Neighborhood was a great success, and we could not have done it without you. So thank you.
Mr. Brown, why don't you, if you would, go through the list, because it is comprehensive, but it is important to list those that partnered with you. So why don't you, I know that the Jewish Community Center, why don't you just go through the list?
So Alvis House is with us tonight, represented. They had about 100 volunteers, I believe, that were working with us that week. Capital University Empathy Experience, the City of Columbus, Columbus City Council, Columbus Recreation and Parks Department. I mean, seriously, the Recreation and Parks Department, had those folks not stepped up to the plate, that playground would not be here today. Easton Community Foundation, Fifth Third Bank, Jewish Community Center, Kaboom, Livingston Avenue Area Commission, Nationwide Children's Hospital, Neighborhood Design Center. They had that sculpture already designed. All we did was plant the flowers around it. Puffin Foundation West, South High School, and then funding came, of course, from City Council, Easton Community Foundation, Fifth Third Bank, Greater Columbus Arts Council, Limited Brands, McDonald's Foundation, Miles McClellan, Nationwide Children's Hospital, Puffin Foundation West, and the Tom Daly Foundation. So the partnerships were as diverse as the people who were working on the project, which I think made the project really unique and really special. The community partnerships, now Councilmember Craig, there's a lot of those. I don't think you want me to go read through all of those, do you? But you know, as this will be released out to the public as well. It'll be on our website, and you're about to see a short video that kind of tells you the story of the week and how everything came together.
Please.
Anything that we need? Can we go now?
No, you stay right there.
Okay.
I'm not going to release you yet.
Okay. It's difficult to ignore a 200-voice wall of sound. And maybe that's why so many people identify with the Harmony Project Choir. It's the face of the organization. Each season brings new faces and questions because there are no auditions. But by the end of that first rehearsal, you start to hear the collective voice. And that's what we're going for. There are no fees to participate, but the members must serve alongside others in the greater community. Some members give time weekly at the Commons at Buckingham, where residents and volunteers have developed meaningful friendships. Our programming provides a reconnection to the social community. And in keeping with the Harmony Project mission, the residents also give back to Columbus.
I can see the change in their self-confidence, their ability to communicate in a social setting. It does wonders for them to see the start and the finished product that they themselves have been involved in.
Gives you an opportunity to really think about what you need to do, you know, to push on. I have terminal lung cancer, and this group has they've made all the difference in the world for me.
Once a week at South High School, we work with approximately 60 students. This program began in September of 2012, and in May of 2013, the students are traveling to DC to perform at the City Year National Convention. They're reminding us not to give up on public schools, but to do the opposite. Let's raise the bar and give them the room to reach it in creative ways. This year, we launched a new service program to unite people from across Columbus to work together in one neighborhood for 1 week. We knew we could not do this alone. This would require dozens of other organizations and businesses and hundreds of volunteers.
All of a sudden, around February, things started moving. And not just moving a little bit, but moving at a frenetic pace. And next thing I know, I'm out knocking on doors with City Council member Craig and David.
As we're walking by, Brian had selected the daycare center as a place where maybe we could do some volunteer work. And we looked at your playground over there and thought, well, we could maybe remulch that for you, add some mulch to it. If you want to come work that day, we're going to be out cleaning the streets. And it's just about to get everybody involved working together. All these people that are in this room today came here because they know that you want a playground, and we're going to give you the tools to draw it, make it happen, make it be. You're going to create it, you're going to dream it up, and then what you dream up and what you draw, we're going to build together.
The volunteer turnout today has been phenomenal. We have about 70 volunteers here today from the community and also from the 4 primary partners that have worked for the last 51 days to pull this thing together.
I think the interesting part of this project has been the opportunity to partner with so many different people that we really hadn't met yet. I think we've made some wonderful connections, established some great relationships.
This is our city. It's a wonderful thing that we are doing this week, and it really shows the passion and commitment of the folks. I am so honored to serve.
The Alvis House is for ex-offenders trying to get your life back on track and use what negatives and failures you had and use them towards the positive. So this is our way of giving back.
The whole idea was to create a design that volunteers could paint.
To create an image that represented Livingston Avenue during the 20s and 40s.
Designs representing all the people, buildings that I remember as I was growing up. This is not just my project, it's really the people that are involved.
The neighborhood was had a Jewish flavor in the early 1900s all the way up to about the 60s. But what I like is that I was able to bring a little Jewish flavor to my painting.
One of the things that I remember the most about living in this area was riding the bus with my mom. So I had a silhouette of my mom and I holding hands, waiting for the bus, because that was one of my earliest memories of being on Livingston Avenue and growing up in that area.
It's not just the Singers in the Harmony Project, but it's also the people from this community that are reaching out and showing that they're proud to not only live in the city of Columbus, but to live on Livingston Avenue.
Today has been amazing. The energy is fantastic. There's over 100 people working together to make a difference, and they've really been doing an awesome job.
All these people you never would have met, people you never would have seen, different backgrounds, ethnic, it doesn't even matter. We're here for one common goal, and that's to help the community, to build up the community, help the kids.
I hope all y'all young kids out there enjoy this park just as well as I enjoy building it. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
This is amazing. As you can see, the weather, it's been raining all day and cold all day, but it didn't stop any volunteers from coming out, bringing us to life.
I'm in the Alvis House right now, trying to rebuild my life. And, I've had a great time out here. It's for the kids, it's for a good cause.
We're just proud to be part of this neighborhood project, which is awesome. I grew up right down the street from here, and I used to play on this playground all the time. It didn't have anything like this.
You're part of that mission today. You are enriching the lives of the citizens of Columbus.
It's funny, Rufus and I have been involved in the community all our lives.
Hani and I actually connected through junior high school and high school
but it's interesting how so many paths have intertwined with this project.
I gotta tell you something that just happened though, okay?
Okay.
The Alvis House guys were over with the children at the JCC. The kids are all with them. They're all digging in the dirt together. And the kids are singing Shalom, Shalom. And all the Alvis House guys start singing Shalom, Shalom. And they're all clapping their hands. And I started crying like a little baby. I had to get out of there because I was like, that is what this whole week is about right there.
We cleaned up 100 blocks, and we really made a good decision to help our community.
I just think it's a good thing that we got out here because this is like where most of us live. So for us to get out here and clean our own community is a good thing to me.
It made me feel appreciated.
It made me feel like we was making a difference, you know, making the world a better place.
$5,000 hours of community service later, we witnessed the power of one Columbus coming together, where the community is both benefactor and beneficiary.
And the Harmony Project is doing other things in the area just really fantastic. So we want to thank them for giving Driving Park area an uplift that we have never experienced before.
I've met a ton of new people today, and everybody's been great.
It's been more about who's been doing it. We have had people from all walks of life, from all over the city, from various organizations who have come alongside one another, and just simply said, what can we do to help?
It's just a beautiful thing. It really warms your heart. It really, really warms your heart because in today's time, you don't see people coming together on such a big cause like this.
It seems like everything's just kind of working at its magic.
This is what community looks like. I mean, sometimes it's gritty, sometimes it's messy and dirty and complicated. But ultimately, this is real. This is beautiful.
This is awesome. In a word, it's just awesome.
The Harmony Project, to me, is the best practice in the nation of volunteering.
Council members' comments.
Chairman Craig, and to David and to the Harmony Project and all the volunteers, sponsors, I want to say thank you from the City of Columbus. I had the opportunity to see this video on Friday night. Thursday night, all these nights, Thursday night, at your concert, which was absolutely fabulous for those of you who were in the Harmony Project and were singing on Thursday night. And to see this video on the big screen, certainly we're seeing it here, but on the big screen, to showcase what you do is really monumental. And I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing with the students from South High School and making a difference in their lives. Thank you for allowing the individuals from the Commons at Buckingham to be a part of your group, to be able even to sing that night and to go there and do service there. I mean, this is an amazing group of individuals that through song have transformed our community. We say we're smart and open. That's exactly what what the Harmony Project is. To be able to transform our community is just literally amazing. This needs to be duplicated. You're not leaving, David, but it needs to be duplicated all over the country.
I ain't going nowhere.
But it absolutely does. And so to our council members who were out working, thank you for the work that you did in those communities. To have those young people, to have the Livingston Area Commission be working to have the diversity of Mr. Rufus Jones, who was here not long ago, and Councilmember Klein brought him up to the podium for him to be working with the gentleman that was the other artist. I mean, it's just it's transformative. And so thank you very much for all that you do for our community, and we look forward to the Harmony Project being in other communities and helping them, those area commissions, to transform their organizations. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Craig.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tyson. Ms. Spaley.
Of course, I can't let the Harmony Project be in Chambers and not say something. I think you're fabulous. I think everything you do is fabulous. I've never missed a concert. If you could have been out there on those days and seen how these people were meeting each other and working together, I only hope that we can do this in every community, because I know that the Livingston Avenue is a different place now because of you. And that's a wonderful thing, because they were who they were before you showed up. You just got them to meet them all. And now, just to solve a bet between my two council members, this young lady up front was my wobble partner. Did I not wobble? They don't believe me.
She actually taught Councilmember Craig how to wobble.
We have to see it.
We'll get it to you. For
Thank you.
Grant, we'll get it.
No, please don't get it. Please don't get it. Mr. Klein, did you have any comments?
It's all been said.
All right. Well, I want to certainly thank you for all of the help with Recreation and Parks. And I just need to say again, and I've said it publicly and otherwise, Mr. Brown, none of this stuff can come together without one that has vision and being able to bring people together. I see Veronica, I see Kate, all of those folks. I could begin to name names all up and down this line. United Columbus, all of you. It was transformative. We saw young people, children, working with men from Alva's house. So there were no distinctions. They were working. And so all over that community, people were working, coming together around common cause. And that's really what we ought to be about, certainly as a city, as a people. And we deeply honor all of you for all that big salary that you're making in the Harmony Project, for what you're doing for our city. I know Franklin County Treasurer Leonard was painting when I saw him on Monday. I thought he was painting. I'm not quite sure. But we honor all of you, and God bless you, and thank you for coming down. Thank you for the report. Dollars well spent. And I'm like Councilmember Tyson, we need to replicate this all over our city, and I know that we are. People are working every day to do work. But the way that this was brought together, and for that week-long process, for people to work together to really transform our city in a wonderful way. God bless you, and thank you for your work. Thank you.
As David said earlier, it would not have been possible without the support of council.
Well,
cannot thank council and the city officials enough.
Well, good. We thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Good work out there.
Thank you.
Councilmember Klein.
Thank you, President Ginther. One resolution this evening, 115X 2013, to express opposition to House Bills 151 and 152 of the 130th Ohio General Assembly, the so-called Right to Work legislation, as well as the Ohio Workplace Freedom Ballot Initiative. This came to our attention recently when some members of the Ohio legislature moved forward to make the state of Ohio a so-called right to work state, although members of the General Assembly as well as the governor has indicated that this measure will not move forward in the immediate future. We know, given some of the actions in the past and some of the statements made by those same members and by the governor, that they are very much interested at some point in the future making Ohio a right to work state. And I think it's important that this council come out early and strong in opposition to such measures, because something called right to work sounds benign enough, But when you start looking at the math that supports right to work initiatives across the United States, the average worker makes $1,500 less in a right to work state. The average per capita income is $6,000 lower in a right to work state. A lot of the efforts made say that it's going to boost employment by making our state a right to work state, but 6 out of the 10 states with highest unemployment, 60% out of the top 10 states with the highest unemployment are right to work states. So how does that jive with wanting to make Ohio a right to work state and think that you're going to increase employment opportunities? So really what right to work legislation does is lower wages and increases poverty. And it means less access to health care and more infant mortality because there's less access to health care. So I'd like to make a motion for passage of this resolution, President Ginther 115X 2013. Give my colleagues a chance to say anything if they wish, but make it unequivocal to those that we represent that we will not support, the City of Columbus City Council will not support so-called right-to-work legislation. We stand by our workers and what they do, and it's important that they have the opportunity to speak with one voice to ensure that they have the working conditions, the wages necessary, so that they can be safe, that they can be productive, and they can raise a family on wages and means that are sustainable and really what represents being middle class and working Americans in the United States.
Second.
I'd like to open up for comments as well.
I just have one comment. The initiatives certainly demonstrate a disregard by some of our state legislators to have workers' rights, and for Ohioans voted to support our public employees. In the face of this, we have to always remain diligent and staunch in defending the right to collective bargaining, fair wages, and safe workplaces. These rights is what make our community stronger, continue with a middle class, making them stronger, and certainly deserve all of our support. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council members? It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Resolution adopted. Thank you, Councilmember Klein. President Pro Tem Miller. Councilmember Mills.
Yes, I have a resolution tonight. It's that time of year again, and I'm very excited. I would like to introduce 0067X-2013 to declare the week of May 19th through May 25th, 2013, Emergency Medical Services Week in Columbus, Ohio. I would ask Dr. Kessick and Lieutenant Sawyer and all the members and personnel within EMS to come forward to the podium. This year's theme for Emergency Medical Services Week is EMS, One Mission, One Team, in recognition of the true team approach that is practiced when EMS personnel respond to medical emergencies and offer life-saving care. Emergency medical services is certainly a vital service to our public, and over 1,500 members of the Columbus Division of Fire provide life-saving care to those in need in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the members of the Columbus Division of Fire are highly trained paramedics that have the most current training and the state-of-the-art equipment that allows them to manage any emergency medical situation they may encounter. In 2012, the Division of Fire's firefighters and paramedics responded to a total of 114,458 EMS runs. That's 114,458 EMS runs. Access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rates of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Additionally, EMS plays a critical role in public outreach and injury prevention, which is certainly evolving in its role as an important member of the healthcare community. I want to thank the Emergency Medical Service Team and all of the members of the Division of Fire for all of the work that they do each and every day to save the lives of our great citizens. I will now move for passage if there are any other comments or questions before I share the mic with our guest.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Kessick, and I believe we have a very special person who is here because of the efforts of EMS to share his experience, and thank you to all of us. And I also want to recognize President Reel of Local 67, who's here with us this evening. Nice haircut, President Reel. Dr. Kessick.
Thank you, Council Member Mills and Council President Ginther, members of City Council, Director Gian Gardella, President Reel, and City Administration officials and distinguished guests. On behalf of the Columbus Division of Fire and Chief Greg Paxton, we all gratefully accept this resolution commemorating EMS Week. Our City of Columbus is blessed to have over 700 firefighter paramedics and a medic vehicle in every fire station, along with having advanced life support capabilities on our fire engines and our rescue vehicles. Our EMS providers take care of a wide diversity of complaints, including chest pain, asthma, trauma, cardiac arrest, and other life-threatening illnesses and injuries. Lives are saved and outcomes affected favorably every day due to our high-quality EMS system and the support and devotion of you, our city leaders, and our fire administration officials have allowed us to develop one of the best EMS services in the world. But if I could, may I tell you a story, a small example of this that occurred September 28th when one of our football officials at a high school football game collapsed on the field during the game. Thanks to the efforts of the Columbus Division of Fire medics on the scene, CPR and defibrillation were carried out immediately, and our patient regained pulses and consciousness and actually gave the thumbs up sign to the fans and team members while being carted off the field by our personnel. He underwent a double bypass on October 2nd, and he's a teacher, longtime football official within the Diocese of Columbus. So his sudden cardiac arrest was very personal to many of the kids, coaches, and fans that night. And we're so fortunate today to have Mr. Julius Palazzo here as a personification of the impact that EMS has on all of our lives and to reflect on his personal experience with EMS. Mr. Palazzo.
First of all, I want to thank Dr. Kessig and City Council for allowing me to speak this evening. I saw Father Watson coming in, and he was one of 3 priests that were on the field. That didn't hurt that night either to have those guys. But he told me, he's always told me this, that we disallowed a Watterson touchdown, and that's why this happened to me. But all in good fun. But seriously, I've had a chance since September 28th to meet with the men that have helped me to come back to life, basically. I actually knew a few of them from prior activities before, but I'm so grateful. I had a lot of things in my favor that night. I really did. I think everything was aligned in a proper way. That's the reason, the reason I'm here this evening. And I've always had a great respect for our police and firefighters, and now I look at them in even a greater light for what they did. And I will always support them in every endeavor that they have in the city of Columbus, because I owe so much to them. So once again, thank you very much for this opportunity. I will always remember it, treasure it for the rest of my life for what they did for me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Palazzo. If I could, just 2 other things in regards to EMS Week. Just this week, coincidentally, we were able to initiate and activate a new technology within the city that will help to alert a CPR-trained citizen in the event of a cardiac arrest. We have a short video that explains it, so if we could maybe cue the video up, it explains what this technology does. Well, it's called Pulse Point.
Hello, my name is Greg Paxton.
Oops, sorry.
I'm the fire chief for the city of Columbus, Ohio.
That's kind of
Did
our
you know
outro
that over the
here.
past 50 years...
You can stop that if you want, so thanks. We have an intro and an outro. We didn't want to have you endure that, so. But anyway, that's a public service announcement.
That's the only time you can tell the chief to stop
I
talking.
know,
so-
yeah. I'm taking advantage of it, too. Pulse Point is the new technology on our smartphones, iPhones, and your Androids that you can download for free. And if you know CPR, then you will be alerted anytime there's a cardiac arrest within 300 feet radius of the event actually occurring. And so what we're hoping to do by this is to increase our bystander CPR rate so that we can improve our survival from cardiac arrests. So I want to encourage all of you here in the room to download this app if you know CPR. And in case you don't know CPR, in addition, what we've done to show our appreciation to council is that we've all gotten you these Anytime CPR kits. You can take these home. You can share them with family and friends. It has a DVD and a little practice mannequin that you can actually learn how to do hands-only CPR, which is really what's required right now. And then you can share it with whomever you'd like, and then you can download the app, and you'll be CPR trained and ready to go. So, Councilmember Mills? This is yours. So thank you so much again for acknowledging our wonderful providers here in the Columbus Division of Fire for EMS. It's a truly wonderful recognition that we appreciate. And we're spending all week this week with different activities and events that we hope will really highlight the impact that our EMS providers have. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Keswick, for the gift. I'm sure everyone will make use of them. And I wanted to say to anyone that's listening, there's two places that our first responders find themselves: in a position of saving a life or endanger themselves. And we've been very fortunate in the number of lives that you all have been able to save. And that is certainly due to the training, your hard work, and your dedication, and we really appreciate it. And I know that those two places aren't always the easiest places to be in, but I'm grateful that you all get yourselves out of danger and save lives at the same time. So thank you very much, and I know that Councilmember Tyson would like to share some words also. Councilmember Tyson?
Thank you, Chairwoman Mills. Just want to say thank you for the work that you do each and every day in terms of saving lives and improving the lives of our residents. But I'm really impressed by this new Pulse Point that allows individuals to be able, until you get there as first responders, to be able to go over and to help individuals if they're in this type of a situation. I think it's using technology, as Councilman Miller likes to always talk about, but certainly I'm extremely impressed and certainly hope that the individuals in our community will definitely go on to this, sign up for this app, that people that have CPR training to be able to assist others. So hope volunteers will participate, but it's quite impressive for us to be able to have this app, to be able to show that you're always thinking of ideas to continue to help save lives. So congratulations and thank you for what you do each and every day for the residents, not only of our city, but for this entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you all again and always for all that you do for our citizens. Thanks for coming down, and yay EMS Week.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Mills. Councilmember Paley. Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, President Ginther. I do not have a resolution, but I do have an announcement. I'm going to ask Dr. Liu, and I don't know if Cora and Manju are going to come down also. But Dr. Liu wants to come down and talk a little bit about the 19th Annual Asian Festival that will be celebrated May 25th and 26th here in Columbus, Ohio. Dr. Liu.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Thank you, President Ginter and other council members. It is a deep honor for us to be here representing a big group of volunteers and to make this Asian Festival, the country's largest Asian Festival, happen. In particular, that this year we are in the deep water, almost cannot make into the black ink, and Priscilla really helped us and to make us in the black ink this year finally. And this is just, we are really grateful and for your support. And without your support, and of course, I just don't know what happened. And also thank Ellen to allow us to use the multipurpose building free. That helps a lot. What we are doing really is trying to make the city diversified, as our mayor being really wants to do. But also we are trying to build a better community. I think this is really what we are trying to do. Our Asian Festival is this coming weekend. What I heard is that we're going to have a good weather. So I invite all of you to be with us on the 25th, 2 p.m. at the opening ceremony, if you could. I presented you, each one of you, a program book already, and please read it, and there are a lot of information there. And so please come to the opening ceremony and to celebrate the Asian Festival with us, but also please come down to the Genoa Park on the Asata River to look at our Dragon Boat race. That 3 p.m. is our final race. Will be very competitive. So, and at 3:30, we're going to announce the winner. So I hope that all of you will be there. I know that Eileen will be there for us, with us all the time. Thank you so much again for allowing us to be here, and to thank you and for your support. Manju, Cora? Manju is our organizing committee chair, and Cora is the chair of our board.
Thank you, council members. We really appreciate all the support we get for the Asian Festival for the 19 years, and we continue to grow, and we hope all of you will be there. Thank you.
Councilmember Paley.
We thank you for everything that you do with the Asian Festival. Not only is the Asian Festival a celebration of culture and diversity, but it's also helpful for all the things that you do for the community with regards to the health screenings. And there's a lot of health screenings down there that are available to the community. And I don't think, two more issues. One is the Dragon Boat races are Monday, correct? Yes. Monday at Genoa Park, not down where the regular Asian Festival is. So yeah, there's no water there. So just to make sure that the community knows that. They're really fun if you haven't been down there. I have been down there every year that they've been down there. It's interesting to watch. Although Dr. Lewis tried, has not been successful in getting me in one of the boats. And then the last thing is to make sure that the community knows if anybody has been successful in the parking issues that are surrounding some of these festivals, it's been the Asian Festival. So don't let that deter you, because they do have excellent parking situations down by the Asian Festival. You can park in remote areas and be shuttled in, and the shuttles move relatively quickly. So make sure you get down there and celebrate the culture and diversity of the Asian community. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you, Councilman Paley. And yes, this is a festival that brings about 100,000 visitors to our city. And yes, there's a career fair, health pavilion, and a children's area. And lastly, I want to thank Franklin Park Conservatory. I want to thank also the Division of Police for the work that they do, because there is a large crowd of people, but certainly you're able to move around pretty freely and get back and forth, as Councilmember Paley just mentioned. And it is one of the events where it has the largest amount of volunteers that do an amazing job. So thank you for coming down, Dr. Liu, and wish you the very best for this year's Asian Festival. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Are there any comments from our elected officials, City Auditor?
Thank you, Mr. President, and all council members. I would like to add a little bit of good news to everything you've heard tonight. Just about 3 minutes before I came upstairs tonight, I was informed by the 3 major rating agencies that Columbus once again has received its AAA bond ratings. We will be having a bond sale on May 29th, and this is exceptionally good news for us going to market. I want to simply say that I think you are all aware that these AAAs don't come easily. And I thank very much the wonderful staff that you have allowed me to have. But you cannot achieve these things without a lot of collaboration and a lot of highly skilled people in other departments. And in particular, I thank Paul Rakoski and his colleagues out of Finance and Management. Public Utilities, Greg Davies and his finance person, Joe Lombardi. Development Department, Bill Webster. And I also thank the chairperson of Council's Finance Committee for sitting in and if I can say learning over the last few years of the intricacies of, I might remind you, the City of Columbus has about $3.7 billion, that's billion dollars of bonds outstanding. And these phone calls and conference calls are many times very lengthy, but always very detailed. So I thank Council for the support that you have given to me with all the ordinances that I bring before you recommending bond sales. We will have a full written report from each of the bond rating agencies within the next few days, and as in the past, we will share the complete report with you. So I want to deliver that news to you tonight and thank you all for your support.
Thank you, City Auditor. City Attorney? Judge Barros, any comments from the bench?
No, thank you, President.
Okay. Are there any requests by members of council for the removal of an ordinance or resolution from the consent action portion of the agenda? If not, may we now have a motion to waive reading of the titles of 30-day legislation by the city clerk?
So move.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Development Committee Ordinances 1152 and 1153-2013. Technology Committee Ordinance 973-2013. Public Service and Transportation Committee Ordinances 1157 and 1158-2013. Public Utilities Committee Ordinances 772, 1097, and 1100-2013.
The following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent actions. Will the clerk now read the ordinance numbers of each into the record?
Finance Committee Ordinances 1088, 1155-2013. Health and Human Services Committee Ordinances 1103 and 1145-2013. Development Committee Ordinances 1141, 1156, 1166, and 1167-2013. Recreation and Parks Committee Ordinances 1110, 1113-2013. Technology Committee Ordinances 896, 992, and 1012-2013. Public Safety and Judiciary Committee Ordinances 223, 1079, and 1111-2013. Public Service and Transportation Committee, ordinances 1018 and 1056-2013. Public Utilities Committee, ordinances 948, 1070, 1092, 1119, 1132-2013, and appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0082, 83, 84, 85, and 86-2013.
Thank you. We do have one consent agenda speaker this evening. Is Loretta King or Dorian Wingard present? I have a speaker slip for Loretta King or Dorian Wingard from the Columbus. Okay. Why don't you come on forward and share your name with us? And ma'am, you've signed up to speak in support of 1166-2013. Is that correct?
That's correct.
If you just share your name and obviously representing the Urban League for the record, that would be great.
Christine Garcia, representing the Columbus Urban League.
Do you have any comments you'd like to share with council?
I'm sorry. We really appreciate the extension of the agreement, and we plan to fully utilize the funds. That's all I care to comment at this time.
Ms. Garcia, welcome to council chambers. Are there any questions or comments for Ms. Garcia? Thank you, ma'am, for coming down this evening.
Thank you.
May I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent actions?
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Consent agenda carries. We will now proceed with the second reading of 30-day tabled and emergency legislation. The first committee is the Finance Committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs that committee. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. And I'll just first make a comment on Mr. Dorian, just by stating that we just, again, got the AAA bond rating. I just want to say it really is just really an honor and a privilege to sit in the room with Mr. Dorian when he's talking to those different rating agencies. And just the level of detail without his notes, he has the notes there, but he does not use his notes when he is talking to the different rating agencies. And just to have, just the recollection of the numbers is phenomenal when you sit in the room and observe him speaking with them. Also, I don't want to discount the relationship that he has with those individuals, how they trust him, they know he's a person of integrity, and he never forgets to ask them for at the very end of the conversation, he'll say when we need our rating by, but he always asks them for the AAA bond rating. He never lets them off the phone. Now, I think that what I've shared with you, we are worthy of getting that AAA bond rating, and I hope you will agree with me when we get. Do you see are there any reasons why that would not happen? Let me know. Call us, because we believe that we are worthy of it. So I wanted to say thank you to you, Mr. Dorian. That it is just amazing to be in the room and watch you, and like I said, that your recollection of everything, the clarity of mind to just rattle off the numbers is just something that we just cannot take for granted. And I thank your team of people who are around you to continue to they make you great, but you make them great. And it really is an honor and a privilege. And when you leave out, when the conversation ends, you pretty much know that you feel like you're going to get that rating. And he always gives full disclosure also. If there's anything if there's any questions about anything that we're doing, he gives full disclosure, and just a man of integrity. And thank you for your work. And we are so honored and privileged to have you as our auditor. So with that, we'll start on the legislation that's It is. We're going to have a new financial management system, and Mr. Dorian will also be speaking on this. But a new financial management system. We have two ordinances which we will seek authorization to contract for a new financial management system for the City of Columbus. The current financial management system was replaced and will when replaced, will have been in use for approximately 17 years. The new system will serve the City Auditor's Office, the Department of Finance and Management, the Division of Purchasing, and the City Treasurer's Office. These ordinances that we will consider this evening will be discussed pursuant to Ordinance 0645-2013, which was adopted as part of our capital improvement budget by this council on April 1st of 2013. This process has taken nearly 13 years of intense bidding, which began with 13 different companies, a city team comprised of representatives from each of the offices that I previously referred to. And this system will play a significant role in our reporting for the bonds. So to continue to get this AAA bond rating, and this system is going to be quite important. I will read both. I'll let Mr. Dorian speak on this, and I'll read the ordinances. On the second ordinance, there's a waiver of competitive bidding, and I'm going to let Mr. Dorian even address that. So, Mr. Dorian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairwoman Tyson. Once again, these two ordinances are a collaborative effort between several of us in the city. I'm a strong believer in making applications applicable to as many divisions as we can properly do so. So it's the City Auditor's Office, our accounting and reporting divisions, Department of Finance and Management through their budgeting efforts, the Division of Purchasing, and the Division of City Treasurer, Department of City Treasurer. As you can see, there are two ordinances involved. The Capital Improvement Plan and the Capital Improvement Budget has established a project of $10 million for the replacement of the financial management system that's in place now. As the Chairwoman indicated, it will be 17 years old by the time we get the next one implemented. I believe it will be a 2-year implementation program. The reason you have two ordinances here, and those two together amount to $7,648,117. There will be a subsequent ordinance at a later date. The reason you have two is the much more significant ordinance of $6.9 million met every iota of requirement of formal bidding processes through the city code. As Chairwoman Tyson indicated, we started out with actually 13 different proposals, and that was over a 3-year period, by the way. Through vetting the different organizations that submitted the proposals, not only simple phone calls and interviews, but on-site demonstrations, multiple webinars over that period of time, the organizations were culled down to a few. Initially to 6, and then to 5, and then to 3, and then to 1. The first ordinance, as I say, would authorize through the formal bidding process the majority of the task. The second ordinance that we're asking for a waiver of bids is I want to assure each of you that every organization in that proposal and in that ordinance did in fact go through the bidding process, but they were parts of other primary bidders. So we chose selectively pieces out of the other bids to fit our needs. But we thought it would be prudent, since these were not the primary bidders in their respective tasks, to ask for a waiver of the bidding requirements. Again, I say to you, it's a broad-ranging effort, I believe about a 2-year effort to fully implement it. It will involve multiple divisions and departments of the city. And the existing system, while quite frankly I like it very much, but it is reaching the end of its useful life. So I ask for your support of the ordinances, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Dorian? No? Hearing none, I'll read the legislation. The first is ordinance 1077-2013 to authorize the city auditor to transfer $6,924,542 from the Special Income Tax Fund to the Auditor Bond Fund to authorize the city auditor to enter into contracts for the acquisition of professional services and computerized systems necessary to deploy a new financial management system, to authorize the appropriation expenditure of up to $6,924,542 from the Auditor Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 1078-2013 to authorize the city auditor to transfer $720,575 from the Special Income Tax Fund to the Auditor Bond Fund to authorize the city auditor to enter into contracts with G Treasury SS LLC, Crow Horwath LLP, and Vinamaya, Inc. for the acquisition of hosted software solutions and professional services for the implementation of G Treasury One Enterprise and Vinamaya V Marketplace, to authorize the appropriation and expenditure of up to $723,575 from the Auditor Bond Fund to waive competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Codes 1959 and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. That's all I have in finance this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Our next committee is the Administration Committee. Councilmember Craig chairs that committee. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. Tonight in the Administration Committee, I have Ordinance 1136-2013 to establish a new authorized strength ordinance for various divisions of the City of Columbus to be consistent with the adopted 2013 budget, to repeal Ordinance 2845-2012, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance amends current authorized strength as set forth in Ordinance 2845-2012 by amending the strength of various general, other city and grant fund sanctioned agencies to be consistent with the 2013 amended budget. The strength levels for most general fund agencies are set to be equal to the 2013 budget as amended by City Council, including the Departments of Health and Recreation and Parks. Authorized strength levels of small non-general fund agencies are set to be equal to the adopted 2013 budget as amended, while the strength levels of certain larger non-general fund agencies may have their strength set slightly higher to allow for flexibility in hiring as relates to its fiscal impact. Funds for these strength increases are budgeted and or the positions will not be filled until revenues have been clearly identified and appropriated. In all cases, the ability to hire will be monitored by the Division of Financial Management. As such, there is no negative fiscal impact associated with passage of this ordinance. Deputy Director Bush, comments relative to this ordinance.
Councilmember Craig, thank you excuse me, for supporting the ordinance this evening. Essentially, the ordinance fully reflects all of the amendments made to the budget as well as the administration's initial proposal. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your comments. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. I do have one final announcement, and it's to recap. Over the last week or so, or several weeks, we have mentioned the governor's wreath laying ceremony. That is tomorrow at the State House at Veterans Plaza on the east side of the State House, and that will commence at noon tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Craig. Our next committee is the Development Committee. Councilmember Klein chairs that committee. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. First in development is 1101-2013 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a contract with various companies to provide lawn care services on city-owned property held in the land bank, to authorize the expenditure of $90,000 from the CDBG grant fund, and to declare an emergency. We do have one speaker, Nathaniel Wilkins. Mr. Wilkins, if you could identify your address, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the legislation.
(1612) Arlington Avenue. Nate Wilkins, also the chairman of Solely Vacant and Abandonment Properties. I got several questions here. I'm for this for one reason only. There's a lot of land bank property down Cleveland Avenue that has tall grass and high weeds. I would like to see this extended to other vacant lands that has tall grass and high weeds, and also extended to foreclosed properties and vacant properties. And again, I'm for this as 120%, because like I say, it's a revolving door that we have. So again, I would say I'm for this, but half of this money needs to be not for $90,000 for city-owned property. Let's split the cost as 50-50 down in the middle for land bank properties and also for vacant and dilapidated structures and properties. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. Any questions or comments? I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
1140-2013 to dissolve the Jobs Growth Incentive Agreement between the City of Columbus and 2Checkout.com, Inc., to direct the Director of Development to notify any and all parties of the agreement of the dissolution, and to declare an emergency. As with all dissolutions, Interim Director Brandon, I think it's incumbent to find out whether there's been any sort of benefit that the company received that the City of Columbus is owed, or is this dissolution pretty a clean break where the City of Columbus is not owed anything?
Chairman Klein, President Ginther, members of council, we do not owe anything. This is a performance-based incentive that the company had, and we did not make any payments, so there's no clawback necessary at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Brandon. Any questions or comments? I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
The next two ordinances are to amend original agreements with the City of Columbus and Express Fashion Operations to add additional affiliates to the agreement. 1169-2013 to amend the Job Creation Tax Credit Agreement with Express LLC et al. For the purpose of adding Express Fashions Operations LLC to the agreement, and to declare an emergency. Any questions or comments? I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
1170-2013 to amend the Jobs Growth Incentive Agreement with Express LLC et al. For the purpose of adding Express Fashion Operations LLC to the agreement, and to declare an emergency. I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
1199-2013 to authorize the Director of Development to enter into an amendment to the Metro Park Development Agreement with Metro Parks, the City of New Albany, and Plain Township for the purpose of continuing to fund the acquisition of land for the development of the Rocky Fork Metro Park, and to declare an emergency. Interim Director Brandon, are you able to provide a little bit of insight about this particular ordinance?
Thank you, Chairman Klein, President Ginther, members of council. Under this amendment, Columbus will contribute to Metro Parks $250,000 per year in each of the 2013, 14, 15, 16, and 2017 in order to acquire more strategically located land for the Rocky Park Metro Park, I think it's Rocky Fork Metro Parks, my apologies. The Metro Park Development Agreement among Metro Parks, Plain Township, New Albany, and Columbus, authorized by Columbus City Ordinance, was executed on February 26 of 2008, and that agreement established land acquisition. So this amendment just allows us to continue to strategically acquire the land.
And it's my understanding that TIF money is being used to purchase this land. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments? I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
May I move to Recreation and Parks? 0687-2013 to authorize the appropriation of $243,723 within the Neighborhood Initiatives Fund to authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks to enter into a contract with the United Way of Central Ohio for the implementation of the Columbus Kids Ready, Set, Learn initiative, to authorize the expenditure of $243,723 from the Neighborhood Initiatives Fund and $56,277 from the Community Development Block Grant Fund, and to declare an emergency. I'd like to invite Todd Dieferdorfer up from United Way. I know he has some comments he'd like to make about the success of this program. I'd first like to move from the table and by a voice vote.
Craig?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Miller? Mills?
Abstain.
Paley? Tyson? President Ginther.
And Mr. Dieferdorfer?
Great. Thank you for having me this evening. On behalf of United Way of Central Ohio, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, President Ginther, and thank you, Councilmember Tyson, for sponsoring this legislation. We are grateful to have Columbus City Council and the City of Columbus as a partner with us in this important community-wide initiative. Passage of this ordinance tonight is going to allow Columbus kids to continue working with children in some of our neighborhoods with the greatest needs. In addition, you're going to help keep us on track so we can finish implementing Columbus Kids across the entire Columbus City School District and be in position to be working with all 16,700 2.5 through 4-year-olds estimated to live in the district. So we're very, very excited about this. Since it was established in February of 2010, Columbus Kids is connected with over 9,000 children and completed over 13,000 learning checkups. So we're having great success in finding the children and reconnecting with them, which is really important to the success of Columbus Kids. It's definitely eye-opening to think about that over 50% of the children participating in Columbus Kids comes from families that have incomes under $10,000 a year. And of that, 40% of the children live in families that have incomes under $5,000 a year. So these services we're providing really are a real asset. Your investment this year will allow Columbus Kids to work with over 2,000 kids and provide learning checkups to them. These learning checkups help us identify developmental delays, but they also provide an additional benefit of allowing us to engage with parents and help them understand what the things that they can do to help better enable their child's development. So in closing, just want to assure you that this is this investment's producing excellent results. In our latest evaluation from the Voinovich School at Ohio University, they found with children that have completed 2 or more learning checkups, they are seeing improvements. So again, thank you for your support of this work.
The evidence speaks of its significant impact that it's making on children in the city of Columbus. I certainly want to open the floor to my colleagues for any questions and comments, and certainly the finance chair and council president as co-sponsors of the legislation.
Thank you, Chairman Klein. And this is really very important work, and I appreciate the work of the United Way, and really in 2010, recognizing this was a need in our community and coming out to the community and asking people to be supportive of this particular need. And I mean, you've already given some great statistics about the success of the program. It certainly does identify through these learning checkups here the social emotional skills that are needed, the fine motor skills, the problem solving, communication, personal social, the gross motor skills, things that we sometimes just kind of take for granted, that these checkups identify that these issues, identify these checkup areas to see where young people are and to help, and if they're not on track in these areas, help them to move forward. And I just really do appreciate the work that we're doing. It's about, I think the percentages are about half and half in terms of boys and girls in the program, but certainly the need and the young people you've been reaching right now have been pretty much at the Center City, Wyland Park, and then I think the
We've moved it, last year moved into the west side and into the south side as well. So, and earlier this year went onto the east side of Columbus.
So I really do thank you, because this is so important. All the work that we've done on the Education Commission, that we have to make sure that our young people are prepared to come to kindergarten, prepared to move forward. And as you even heard today, kids learn to read from obviously in the womb to grade 3, and we learn the 4th grade on. And if they don't have these skills, they're behind, and it's hard to catch up. So this is critically important work. I thank you for what United Way is doing and all the other partners that are participating, and look forward to more success for our young people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Klein. Thank you, President Ginther.
Any other questions or comments? I move for passage. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, by voice, yes. Thank you.
Craig.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Mills.
Abstain.
Paley. Tyson. President Ginther.
And there's one final piece in Recreation and Parks, 1068-2013, to authorize and direct the Director of Recreation and Parks to enter into 14 contracts for the provision of services to older adults in Central Ohio in connection with the Alzheimer's, Respite, and Senior Volunteer programs administered by COAAA. To authorize the expenditure of $225,000 from the Recreation and Parks Grant Fund and to declare an emergency. I'd like to remove it from the table by a voice vote.
Second.
Craig.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Mills.
Abstain.
Paley. Tyson. President Ginther.
Any questions or comments about this particular piece of legislation? I move for passage by voice vote.
Second.
Craig.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Mills. Paley. Tyson. President Ginther.
That's it, President Ginther.
Thank you, Councilmember Klein. Our next committee is the Technology Committee. President Pro Tem Miller chairs that committee. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. In the Technology Committee, we have 900-2013 to authorize the Director of Department of Technology on the behalf of the City of Columbus to enter into a revenue contract with the Franklin Board of Commissioners for weekly media services provided by the City of Columbus Television, CTV. Media services whereby the Franklin County Board of Commissioners have agreed to reimburse the Department of Technology up to $37,499.97 and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig. Klein. Miller. Mills. Paley. Tyson. President Ginther.
And that is all we have in the Technology Committee. President Ginther, I do want to recognize someone in chambers. Okay. I would like to welcome a visitor to Columbus, the Honorable William Quaitu. Could you stand up? He is a member of Parliament for the Republic of Ghana, and he's here to visit Columbus and check out Columbus Chambers. So thank you for coming. And that is all I have, President Ginther.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Miller. Next committee is the Public Safety and Judiciary Committee. Councilmember Mills chairs that committee. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. Tonight in Public Safety and Judiciary, I have the following ordinances, beginning with Ordinance 0996-2013, to authorize and direct the Director of Finance and Management to issue a purchase order to Laerdal Medical Corporation for the purchase of simulator training equipment for the Division of Fire Training Bureau, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, to appropriate and expend $26,882.63 from the Fire Division's Entrepreneurial Training Fund, and to declare an emergency. The Division of Fire needs to purchase patient simulation equipment for its training bureau, and the total cost of this purchase will include the simulation mannequin, computerized simulation system warranty, and any updates. The Division of Training Bureau employs a Laerdal computerized patient simulator to assist in EMS training. And as you heard earlier this evening, the importance of well-trained EMS personnel, and that requires top-notch and very lifelike simulations for our EMS personnel to do their job of a life-saving mission whenever they encounter any of our citizens. These simulators using the lifelike mannequins are programmed to simulate a multitude of medical conditions. And by purchasing an additional simulator, Training Bureau will be able to utilize the hundreds of scenarios that are already written within the Laerdal software and use with our current simulator, but without the need to learn new operating interface or another manufacturing simulator. If there aren't any other comments or questions, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I have ordinance 1030-2013 to authorize the municipal court clerk to enter into a contract with Oracle America, Inc. for software license updates and support services, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of Columbus City Code, to authorize expenditure of $47,857.92 from the municipal court clerk computer fund, and to declare an emergency. I'm going to provide the opportunity for Judge Barrows to share any comments if he would like at this time. Judge Barrows?
No, thank you very much, Councilman.
Thank you for being here, Judge Barrows, and sharing what this means for municipal court. If there aren't any other comments or questions, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I have ordinance 1065 to authorize and direct the Director of Public Safety to enter into a contract with Columbus Towing and Recovery, LLC for towing services for the Division of Police, to authorize the expenditure of $1,610,000 from the general fund, and to declare an emergency. I believe there is a speaker on this particular ordinance. I'll bring to the floor Mr. Ernest McQuirt, and again, I apologize if I've mispronounced your name. If you'll please approach the podium, share your first and last name and your comments related to this ordinance.
My name is Ernest G. McQuirt, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Metropolitan Towing and Storage, which has been taking care of the towing in Columbus for approximately 25 years. We would object to this ordinance. We feel that the bidding process was ambiguous, and to all companies that bid, there was a number of different bids created and posted, which made the process confusing and the prices revealed, and by each time having to lower the prices. The settlement agreement that was reached between Columbus Towing and Recovery, the first bidder, and Proto Inc., the second bidder, highest bidder, was unfair to the other companies that was bidding. We feel there was a number of inconsistencies and discrepancies in the winning bid put out by Columbus Towing and Recovery. We are asking for a rebid, or at least table it for 30 days to look over the indiscrepancies and inconsistency and discrepancies. That's all I have for you, unless you would.
Thank you, Mr. McQuirt. I'm going to ask Deputy Director Dan Giangardella to offer comments related to this, and then I'll provide some additional remarks. Deputy Director.
Yes. President Ginther, Chairman Mills, members of council. First of all, let me say this is the first time MTS has come forward, at least to my knowledge, our office, and objected to any issues with what is the second bidding that we did for this particular contract. MTS provided great service to the citizens for the last 25 years, but this is a bid contract. The two low bidders on this particular contract were Proto and Columbus Towing and Recovery. And as council may be aware, there was initially some protestation, if you will, with Columbus Proto and Columbus Towing. They have worked out their issue. They have agreed to enter into this contract with Columbus Towing, doing the bulk of that work, and it's my understanding that Proto will be a sub to them on this contract. We see no reason to rebid this, and this has been vetted by the City Attorney's Office, and we are prepared to move forward with Council's agreement this evening.
Thank you, Deputy Director. And just to clear up, that there was a review of 3 bids submitted, including MTS Inc., Proto, Columbus Towing and Recovery LLC, in response to invitation to bid, and Columbus Tow and Recovery LLC was the apparent low bidder. However, awarding the contract to Proto was initially recommended based on the application of the environmentally preferable purchasing provision. And Columbus Towing and Recovery LLC filed for injunctive relief challenging the application of the environmental preference to this bid evaluation. And that legal action since has been resolved by all parties. And the award is recommended by Division of Police to Columbus Towing and Recovery LLC as the lowest responsive, responsible, and best bidder. Any additional comments or questions? If not, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. I have one brief remark I'd like to add, President Ginther, if you allow me the time. Each year, there is an opportunity for citizens and families to pay tribute to officers who have fallen in active duty during our Columbus Police Memorial, and that was held last week. And the timing of the memorial, again, as it tends to be a reminder of the danger that our Division of Police find themselves in. And last week being no exception to incidents happening in the Clintonville area, and thankfully our officers are all well and home to their family now. But it is always that time of year that reminds us of the dangers that they are involved in whenever incidents happen. And I just want to ask that the community join me in thanking officers for protecting each and every one of us day in and day out as they put themselves in extreme danger in a variety of situations. And just at any time and facing a first responder, know that they're there when a call is made and they respond. And it is always a hope that they can respond and return home again. Thank you. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Mills. Our next committee is the Public Service and Transportation Committee. Councilmember Paley chairs that committee. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. In Public Service and Transportation this evening, we have Ordinance 1098, 2013, to amend the 2013 capital improvement budget to authorize and direct the city auditor to appropriate and transfer $8,347,488.41 from the Special Income Tax Fund to the Street and Highway Bonds Fund, and to authorize the city auditor to transfer $170,976.81 between projects within the Street and Highway Bonds Fund, and to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract with Strasser Paving Company to provide for the payment of the contract and construction administration and inspection services in connection with the resurfacing program, and to authorize the expenditure of $8,518,465.22 from the Street and Highway Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorizes the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract for the construction of resurfacing 2013 Project 2, and to provide payment for construction administration and inspection services. This contract consists of repairing and resurfacing 45 city streets and construction of 981 ADA curb ramps along those streets. This work for this project consists of milling existing pavement, overlaying with new asphalt, concrete, minor curb replacement, and replacing curb and sidewalks associated with installing ADA wheelchair ramps. The estimated start date for this project is June 12th. I would like to thank Director Kelsey and his team for their leadership on this project as well. I urge your support on this ordinance. If there's no further questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
That's all we have on public service and transportation this evening. I'd like to move on to public utilities. In public utilities, we have ordinance 0928, 2013, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a planned modification for the professional engineering services agreement with MS Consultants, Inc. for the above-ground reservoir engineering services during construction phase for the Division of Water, and to authorize an expenditure of $3,459,000 from the Water Permanent Improvement Fund. This ordinance is a planned modification for the remainder of the engineering services during construction, as well as stream monitoring. Central Ohio residents and businesses depend on a sufficient supply of water. The Columbus Department of Public Utilities provides water to Columbus and over 20 contracting communities. More water supplies had to be secured to meet the demand of a still growing community. The Dublin Road Water Treatment Plant draws water from the Scioto River. This plant serves downtown Columbus, the west side of Columbus, and several western Franklin County suburbs. The Water Beyond 2000 study recommended 3 upground reservoirs near the Scioto River in northwest Delaware County to supplement the water supplies used by the plant downstream in Franklin County. The upground reservoir being built is on 843 acres of city-owned land in Thompson Township in northwest Delaware County and a small portion of Union County. A pump station is being built near the reservoir site and will include an inflatable weir in the Scioto River. The weir will be inflated only during periods when adequate stream flow exists for pumping water to the reservoirs, and will be deflated when the pumps are not in use. Columbus Upground Reservoir began construction in spring of 2011, followed by pump station and raw water pipeline work. Following, the reservoir is expected to begin in the fall of this year, filling the reservoir, which will be done by pumping water from the site during times of heavy flow and rainfall. The capacity of the reservoir will be 9 billion gallons. I would like to thank Director Kelsey and his team for their leadership in this project as well. If there are no comments or questions, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, we have ordinance 1019, 2013, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to execute a construction contract with Capital City Electric, LLC, and to enter into a rebate agreement with Vermont Energy Investment Corporation, DBA Efficiency Smart, for the energy efficient lighting upgrades project for the Division of Water. To authorize the transfer and expenditure of $582,598.67 with the Waterworks Enlargement Voted Bonds Fund, and to amend the 2013 capital improvements budget and to waive the provisions of competitive bidding. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I have ordinance 1059, 2013, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a planned modification of the professional engineering services agreement with CH2M Hill Engineers for the Dublin Road Water Plant Treatment Capacity Increase Project, detailed design phase for the Division of Water, and to authorize an expenditure of $8 million from the Waterworks Enlargement Voted Bonds Fund, and to declare an emergency. This specific project will include assisting in the alternative analysis of various treatment layout options, including the evaluation of granular activated carbon in the existing filters, post-filter contactors, and ozone, coupled with the biologically active filters. The combination of these improvements will result in enabling the Dublin Road Water Treatment Plant to meet all current drinking water standards, and will provide for an increased treatment capacity of up to 80 MGD in the future. I would like to thank Director Davies and his team for their leadership on this project. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
I have nothing else in public utilities this evening. President Ginther.
Thank you, Councilmember Paley. If there's nothing else to come before council this evening, I'd entertain...
Council President Ginther.
Councilmember Craig.
Thank you very much. I neglected to certainly highlight, to mention that I've scheduled the Veteran Affairs Committee hearing for Wednesday, May the 29th at 5:30. It will be in City Council chambers. And as usual, will be aired on CTV, Columbus Access Channel 3. And again, that is scheduled for Wednesday, May the 29th. We will commence at 5:30 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Craig. If nothing else to come before council, entertain a motion to adjourn. We do have one non-agenda speaker we'll take momentarily. Second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
We stand adjourned.